we are back with another episode of a funded series. This is going to be episode number 2. So let's dig straight into it. So I'm going to start off by showing you guys my portfolio. As you can see in my screen right now, it's pretty simple. We are nearly there. We are actually just 3% up. I need a total of 8% to pass phase 1. Right now, as you can see, all profitable days have been met. So I've got 3 profitable days. I've made 0.5% on a trading day, and that's in closed profits in order for it to be a profitable day. Right now, I have a total of $158. I need a total of $400 to pass phase 1. Haven't breached anything yet. As you can see my equity curve over here. So we've been pretty consistent. You can check the advanced statistics. I mean, it's all there. There's not been many trades. I mean, I've taken 8 positions. And if you guys remember in episode 1, I did tell you that I wanted to start off behind closed doors to scalp first, pass phase 1, pass phase 2, then start the funded series. But I said, let me actually walk you guys through phase 1, phase 2, and then continuously throughout the scaled accounts. So that's where I think I had about 4 or 5 scalp trades. Had a couple wins, a couple losses, but I ended up those scalps in profit anyways. So the account was floating in profit. There was one trade that I was in, and I was still in, and that was Euro CAD. If you guys remember from episode 1. If you don't remember that and you're just watching this, go back and check episode 1 and then come back through to episode 2 and so forth. You guys will be glad to know EuroCAD hit TP. So what we're going to be doing is, let me show you my chart right now. So I'll show you the position that I did manage to take. So I'll break it down for you guys. We had a zone over here, which is our previous daily resistance. Price broke above it, gave us an impulse, pulled back down. If you know the strategy, we need 2 or more retracement candles as long as it doesn't break past the original impulse or the structure area, which would invalidate the setup. As you can see, we've got 3 retracement candles in this case, and it was a pretty good setup. Now I would adjust my fib on here. Before I even do that, I still need to check the higher time frame. So what I did was, as you can see from these areas over here, these are all the previous structures areas. So this is a previous resistance area over here with my mouse is, and then we also have previous support areas over here, which price was clearly above, and then we had this massive rejection candle with the bearish candle over here acting as a support area from this spread structure zone on the weekly. So we was bullish on the weekly, and in the monthly time frame we also had something similar over here, where you can see price had broken above it, huge bearish candle, but price never broke below on monthly, and price is using that as a support zone in order to push price up. So technically, as price broke above it, as price broke above this resistance area, it came back down and actually turned it into a support area, and that's why we went long for this position. So that was our confluences. By the time I dropped down to the 4-hour time frame, which is our entry time frame, I was looking for price to break the 61.8 and give us some sort of entry signal, which it did right there. Structure was created, so we have different color candles over here. Entry at the 61, and I did hold this over the weekend. I hold all my trades over the weekends until it hits TP, break even, or stop loss. I take partials on all the way, and if I can manage to get in for a second entry at some point, which is not something that I recommend because the strategy is pretty good, 80% win rate, 1 to 3 risk to reward ratio, but because I take partials, I need to make up for those missing lock sizes in order for me to actually get the full TP. So here, as you can see, this is our entry. Price tapped us in, minimal drawdown again. Price broke above 38.2. Around this area I took partials, and I managed to, funny enough, I did say in episode 1 I was trying to get in for a second entry after I had moved my stop loss to break even, but price never allowed me to get my second entry, so I just left it and I let it run. And as you can see, price flew all the way to TP. Now that trade itself took, from when I first entered it, it took, let's see, that took 4 days and 20 hours. Now usually it doesn't actually take that long. Minimum amount it will take it could take an hour on a swing position. If we have very good price action and very good volume, sometimes it takes 4 days. The last trade that I did take that took the longest this year was probably NAS 100. That took about 2 weeks to hit TP. So, I mean, it does vary. And again, it's out of our control. So that's why I just hold and let price do what it wants to do. So that was Euro CAD. So we did take a win there, and I'll put the P&L on the screen now for you guys to see. And funny enough, that was actually the only position that I managed to take. Technically, I took this from last week. I held it through this week. We did have some other setups this week, but I think they failed. So I think the other one we had was gold. Yeah, so we had gold tried to set up this week for longs, and that failed because that would have been my other setup to take this week. As you can see, price broke above this resistance area. Bring that back down a little bit, so about here. Yep, price broke above it, pulled back, retested it, and then I would have adjusted my fib basically. But as I've done that, and of course when I check the higher time frame on the weekly time frame, I mean, if you think about it, we are in all-time highs vicinity, so technically we should only be looking for some sort of longs rather than going short. And price just kept falling down, and as price broke below the structure area, it then 100% became invalidated. So therefore I just scrapped it and I left it alone. And I think that's actually the only other pair this week that I was looking at in order for me to actually get into a position. Now, funny enough, that was the entire week. So we did manage to get 3% on the account. I still got 5% remaining, and hopefully, as you can see on the right hand side, we've got a section that says swing ready. We have 3 pairs. Now, I have filtered it down. There's some other pairs that do look like they're setting up. However, based on me checking the higher time frames and filtering it down, I've only actually managed to pick out 3 of those that actually look pretty good. I'm going to break that down right now. So hopefully these are the ones that will probably be entering this upcoming week. So we have an impulse candle going over here on CAD JPY. Price broke above this resistance area. I'm hoping for the second retracement candle to pull back down to this resistance area and act as support. If it breaks below this area, I'm no longer interested. It needs to hold within this area, and then we'll be looking for longs. But before we do that, we can check the higher time frame. So we've gone a weekly time frame. This resistance area over here in previous time, price broke above it once, broke above it again broke below it a second time, and then broke above it again a third time. So after 2 times, it's no longer valid. It's been breached multiple times. The zone is no longer reliable. You don't know how much weight that zone is actually going to hold. It might just deceive you, so you scrap it. The next zone we'll probably be looking at is over here, this resistance zone over here. Now technically that will be our target area because that's the direction we're heading in, and we're actually nowhere near there. And then once we go to the monthly time frame, as you can see, we have this massive support area over here, which is where price is currently at, technically speaking, and where price has just come from, as you can see. So hopefully we do get some sort of a bullish price action with CAD JPY. But before we get bullish price action, I'm hoping for 1 more retracement candle. We need 2 retracement candles before we decide to go long. Price needs to close here, or at least tap into this area. It doesn't need to close into it. As long as it taps into that area, give us a second bearish candle. And then we can look for longs and target this area or the -27, whichever one comes first. So something like that, for example. So that's that for CAD JPY. Now the other pair I am looking for is Ethereum. Ethereum, as you can see, we have this massive impulse to the downside. Now the way I would draw this is something here. So this is an entire area on the daily time frame. Price broke below the support area over here. They've got 1 retracement candle. I'm actually looking for 2, but for the purpose of this video, I want to draw it out just in case. If we don't get a second retracement candle, setup is scrapped. And obviously you'll find that out in the next video as well, whether I did take the position or not. So we are going bearish. Now, the only thing that I'm actually not liking now, funny enough, I don't think I actually checked this properly because I was waiting to do the video. We have this bullish impulse and correction on the weekly time frame. So straight away, I am not even looking to take this Ethereum for shorts. The higher time frame is doing the complete opposite of what I want on the daily time frame. So therefore, I'm not even going to look at the monthly for confirmation. Now we do have mixed confirmation on the monthly time frame, as you can see, because the daily's going bearish, the weekly's going bullish with that impulse and correction, and then the monthly time frame again we have bearish price action from here, because we just literally came from this monthly resistance area. Now that is confusion. There is no clear direction. It only takes one time frame in order for the whole trade to mess up. So you'd rather stack your confluences and have the majority of the time frames actually line up for you in order for you to take those positions. This is not something we want to take. It's not something I necessarily need to risk my capital on, so I'm going to leave it. I'm going to scrap it. Yeah, so Ethereum is a no-no. I did have it on the list initially, but I didn't check the higher time frames because I was going to do that for the video. So there we go. Next pair that I'm actually keen on is Euro CHF. Now I want to break this down for you again. We have a resistance area over here, which price broke with the impulse. Price, you can also broke this fractal here. It broke this fractal high, and it also broke this fractal high over here as well. So this is going to be one entire zone. Price broke above it. Resistance area now turning into support area. As you can see, we've now started to get some sort of rejection over here. I'm going to go on the weekly time frame. We have this massive weekly support area over here, so we are bullish on the weekly time frame. Right, so daily's bullish, weekly's bullish. The next zone, as you can see, this is a weekly zone all the way up here as well, which is going to be our target area basically. So our TP cannot exceed that area. And then when we go to monthly time frame, as you can see, we're also inside this monthly support area over here. So all time frames are looking bullish for Euro CHF as long as it doesn't start creeping down below this blue box. If it closes below this blue box, I'm no longer interested. Even if price decides to do something like that, I'm no longer interested. Right, you want to have the right entry at the right time in order for you to not get stopped out. Now by the time I draw my fib, and then that's measuring the retracement, I adjust my fib here. Now you can see our TP is actually above this weekly resistance area. Now I'm actually still going to take that position. When I drop down to the 4 hour time frame, I'm still going to take this position. The only difference with this is I'm not going to hold all the way to the negative 27. I'm actually going to hold, if you manage to get an entry, I'm going to hold just until we get to about the 0 or the beginning of this weekly resistance area. And then I'm going to take all my profits in this area, right? I do not trust price enough for price to actually blast through the resistance area and tap into the negative 27. This is a high time frame resistance zone. As soon as price taps into the zone, you might get price playing about and then suddenly back down and stop you out at break even. That's not something I want. So therefore I'm going to take this position leading towards that high time frame resistance area, and then I'm going to close out all my profits. That is how I'm going to do this one. And that's how I'm going to do it for all the other positions as well. If our TP was actually lower, so if our TP was maybe inside this area here, for example, then 100% I would have taken it. But because it's actually outside of that zone, I am not going to hold TP to the fullest. I'm going to get out around this zone. So keep that in mind. But those are the only 2 positions that I'm actually really looking forward to for the upcoming week. That is literally it. So I mean, guys, we're near there. 5% more, phase 1 done, and then phase 2 I only need 5%. So I mean, it's very much doable, and this is week 2 basically. I mean, less than 14 days, 3% up. But yeah, no, that's literally it for this video. It's going to be a short one because I only took 1 position, and those are the next pairs that I'm looking forward to for the next week. So stay tuned for episode 3. Thank you guys. Peace.